stuff set up real quick. I thought there would be a Four Nights chapter, like that last chapter left off on some hype. So I really want to talk about that one. The Eden Zero one was fine. I think it was crazy. I think that they're gonna be able to save Hermit. Maybe Wise will show up and do something and save her. Just because Hermit seems out of the four shining stars, out of the main four, who would be in my opinion, the least likely to die would be Hermit. I feel like Mishima's just given way more attention to her than he's given to any of the other ones, like remotely even close. Oh, I got my stuff sound in the background. Let me see. Does it sound good if I've got my mic directly put in front? I don't want it to sound bad. Let me see. Come on, go up to live. Let's see. Hold on. I don't want it to echo back. How are you guys doing, though? Nur, what's going on? Josie, how's it going? Ashizura. 1 second. In the background. Let me see. Does it sound good if I've got my... Okay, much better. They can have the weird echo for once. I've been having it talk away for a while when I was playing games, but I didn't notice it had that much of an echo. Do I read Blue Exorcist? Yeah, but I'm not caught up. I'm a couple chapters behind. I'm a good chunk behind. I think the last time I read a chapter was oh my god, I'm forgetting names now. Is the Rin's brother? Was it Yuki? I think his name is or something. He got a gun. He got his own custom gun, and that was the last thing I think that I remember is he got some cool new gun. It's been a bit since I partook. Oh, was it going through? Oh, I was looking at stuff real quick on Twitter because I wanted to see if it would switch screens. I'm glad it did. It's messing around with stuff for a little bit. I'll have to keep that in mind because sometimes it'll stick on a window. I think it's because it's on display. One second, let me mess with that really quick. Where's the display box? Sometimes this shit gets annoying, but yeah, we'll let things kind of just come in, ask any questions, say what's up, and then we'll kind of just talk more about some of the ongoing stuff, what we've got in this stream, and what we're gonna be talking about in today's today's kind of roundabout stuff, as well as okay shit I clicked onto the stream and not the wheel that I needed it to actually go on. I think it's this one. Is this the right one? Yeah, this is the really big one. Because I have one, I had them as individual, and then I had some that were just, some that were going to be, split up. But I figured I would kind of give, what I'm doing, a test run before eventually we end up doing it. I forgot where my little emote, or my little avatar character is. Did I cover it up? I hope I didn't accidentally get rid of it. I might. Oh no, it's right there. It's behind another one. Let me see if I got this. Okay, there we go. I think I fixed it. Cool. And I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger, so it's actually, can I just zoom in on the actual thing? Let me see if I zoom in on the. If I zoom in on here, if it zooms in on the stream. Oh, it does. I wanted to make it harder to see the list, but I mean, now everyone's going to have seen it, but still. Okay, I spun once by accident, but we'll have that count as the first one, and we'll eventually get to whoever he's going to fight. Oh, that bum-ass Toshiro. Worst captain, and absolutely overhyped. Good. We'll see who he goes against, but I don't like him, but I'll give him a fair shake, obviously. What's going on, JK Network? I was going, Koda's such a bum. I agree. Koda's looking bad. The thing is, that dude Damon being the top of the Narutoverse right now, it's so weird. It's like having Kid Buu, but with none of if you just had Kid Buu appear, but he looked goofy like Majin Buu, but at the same time. Not in its own separate way, but it just, Damon doesn't look intimidating or cool enough to be the top of the verse. Whereas Code, at least Code's redesign, or he's got the changed form, at least looks cool enough that I could see it and be yeah, I mean, it's weird that he's some 15-year-old in Omega, so was Naruto at the time. So it's not too bad. Whereas the one kid, he's looks like he's 10, and he has a haircut that makes him look like a dick. Free Homura. Homura's getting beaten up. She needs to figure out what exactly she's doing. Because like, has she just been doing nothing all time skip? Bust out something new. Like have some new power move. What are you doing? I mean, we didn't see the fight, but still. She's got to have something. What's up, Sabo? How's it going? She's got to have something up her sleeve. Hakune versus friggin' 12. I mean, pretty much like if she can get them beforehand, that for like the obvious people. No, we're not talking about the Larcade, August, Irene. Larcade's a maybe, but I think a lot of them could potentially just blitz her or take her out fast. Like Demaria is gonna take her out immediately. Demaria is not going to really give her the opportunity to freeze her, and then it's gonna turn out to like who gets the hacks on her versus who does she diamond effect first. Because like some of those, it's similar to like Demaria versus Brandish. The second one of them gets each other with their abilities first, that's it. That's all that really needs to be done. People overreact Hamura dying. Hamura's like the thing is like there was nothing to indicate Hamura was dead. So it's like when people say Hamura's dying and they jump to that, it's just like no, not really. Like she just got hurt. She's down, but I'm guessing the next chapter she's gonna be back on her feet. None of it even looked like it didn't even look like a defeated in combat, let alone a death. Like she just looked like she just took like a big hit and she was gonna take a moment to get back up. I think she'll be perfectly fine. One Punch Man chapter is crazy. The One Punch Man chapter did look pretty crazy. I will admit, like it. I'm surprised that Garrow is doing as well as he's doing. I will say it. What's gonna happen next is really gonna determine like a lot of my outlook on Saitama. Like, is he actually a serious character who just everybody has been so much weaker, or is he just a gag character and it's always just gonna be the gag with him? Because then it's like, okay, I don't really care. It's like fighting Bugs Bunny. Whereas like if he's, because again, it's one of the reasons I like MASH more than Saitama is MASH has more grounded people who are above him to keep like his position in the verse like checked, so he doesn't just feel like this unstoppable goofy force who's always like comedically one-shotting people. And I get it's the joke, but like if we're talking about it from like a versus standpoint, you don't really take cartoonish gag characters as seriously. So it's like, you know, they're gonna just do the one-shot mechanic or pull some crazy thing again. Like Bugs Bunny will just pull out like kryptonite out of his hat, didn't even have it before, and just do stuff. I'm just gonna tweet out the stream. I'll just say like. It was mostly a quiet week for manga, unfortunately. Waiting for the week. Waiting for Sunday. Actually, I'll say halfway to Sunday. Halfway to Sunday. There, that's perfect. It's literally not that kind of crazy. It's just gonna say like, hey, I guess we're streaming today. Nothing really happened. Boruto villain design suck. I like the Delta chick in the Momoshiki, like his design when he's fused and he has like the black splatter like marking paint all over him and he's got the horns and the long hair and the rope. He looks cool. I like his design. I'm not a huge fan on a lot of the designs though. And that's like one of the things, like designs obviously are very different for me when it comes to like one of my personal takes on them, because it don't really matter about the series. Like I can have like I can love a design from something that I hate, or I can look at something that I love and have like a complete disdain for like a design like look at Nine Hearts design. Nine Hearts design is pretty bland. The only thing that's really that interesting about it is he has such a weird color palette. But other than that, he's just like a dude. Like he's pretty boring. Don't act like you all weren't into Ishiki when he was around. I thought he was okay. I don't really think he was that interesting. Like none of the Boruto designs post Momoshiki I think have been that clean. Like they're not that really that intriguing. Delta was cool. I thought Delta was okay. I liked her little drone. But like we don't have like look at the Boruto villain cast and then look at like the Naruto villain cast. We're not talking about the writing, the long length impact, whatever. We're talking about specifically just their designs. Like Naruto just has better ones. It's similar to Super. Like Super just doesn't have that good of designs. A lot of the designs in Super are pretty bland. And it's one of the things that again that it makes 100 Years Quest look so much better because like 100 Years Quest has a lot of really good designs. It's in its final arc. Shame author has battled recently and dropped back in May. What are you talking about? Let me scroll. What are you talking about, Werner? I don't know if I missed something about that. Let's just talk about Homura right now. People are making fun of Homura. Honestly, none of Boruto's villains look interesting. Yeah, I read that. I think, right? Code almost looks as bad as Lucifaro. Code looks worse than Lucifaro. Like, Code legit looks worse. Lucifaro had some times where he got to stretch and be a bad guy for a bit, whereas Code got to, like, claw up some fodder and then get his ass beat by a power that just makes you simp. And some annoying kid who, like, makes your, like, pretty much just cheat damages you and stuff and hits hard. It makes him just look bad. Doesn't make sense to me how Amano can occasionally create cyborgs that can solo ship embers. There's a degree of it that's, like, weird, but at the same time, I get it. Because it's, like, the difference between a character like getting up to a power level is you have to obtain that some way, whereas something like a creation, you program it to do certain things. It depends on the level of technology and, like, how you do stuff. So obviously, like, high advanced technology to make androids combined with mystical chakra ways and things that it can do, it to a degree it makes sense of how you can get something like that fast. Versus, like, if a character was just born and then just within 10 years just got up to that level. It's one of the things that creation is just different because that depends way more on what's at hand and the mind behind the creator and what tools and stuff they have before them that they can pivot off of and get to whatever level, creating powerful megaverse characters or whatever the fuck. It's a completely different kind of setup and scenario, which I get, but at the same time I get the concern for it. Because it's just, like, it's weird that this guy is just making that many. When it was, like... Because when you think of somebody like Cell, it made sense of, like, having a couple people that were made that were stronger than, like, certain, like, big characters that came before him, like Frieza and stuff. And then people like Cell and, like, definitive members. Whereas, I don't know, it feels like every single... It feels more of, like, how... outside of, like, certain parts of Dragon Ball like that, like, characters just show up, are just more powerful. Doesn't really matter when they started in their bad guy journey. It doesn't really matter exactly when. They're just more powerful than characters who were defined massive deals at the time. And, like, the only difference is, like, a couple months and some guy is a recolor of some other bad guy, but, he's going to be fighting Gohan in the form before he gets a new form or something, so the old form has to look really weak. One of those things. This is a completely different setup. But I don't know. It's one of those ways that, like, technology can cheat, and why someone like Ziggy I think is interesting because it doesn't really matter if he loses a part as long as he's able to upgrade and advance his systems and stuff off of whatever he figures out in the previous fight in whatever ways he figures out he can advance. Like that's just one of those cheat things I think machine characters have. He's a Natsu's planetary and can beat Meliodas. Meliodas can't die. Meliodas lost his immortality, so that's not true. He takes would be full countered. Full countering Natsu's fire does nothing. The Vanish Brothers did that. Pretty much the same thing that full counter does to him more. Natsu has better feats. He's defeated more powerful opponents. And he's got way more just direct combat capability. Whereas, in the case of Meliodas, that it's very forgotten about with pretty much anybody in Seven Deadly Sins. They lose their weapons, they get dramatically weaker. They can't use their abilities to any level of standard without their weapons. So, you're going to swing a sword at Natsu, it's going to melt, as magic swords have done before. We haven't seen Brigading's full power, so either he's going to summon a weapon or strengthen his defense. I think it'll be like a cool weapon. I think it makes more sense for him just to get a better weapon as he's doing his thing. Did Iron Nancy die? No, has he not uploaded a video in a bit? I don't talk to him that often, so I don't really know what goes on with him. Coda's like early Shigaraki, takes L's but wins later, give it time. What do you mean? Shigaraki, though, was like set at the start of the series. Code just got set up, at the beginning of this arc, and he's already looking bad? But we're already how far into the story with Boruto? It would be like if Shigaraki showed up in what's like the middle area, like what with Overhaul, if he just showed up then and he didn't have the chunks before him. If Code had parts before this that had stuff set up, then I would believe you, but it's like he just shows up, he already is supposed to be super hyped, and then he looks bad losing to some little kid and some chick whose whole thing is simping over Kawaki. That's super lame. It feels like a bad fan fiction with a character who had potential. If If he can somehow just start going on a streak of W's, that's one thing. But right now, he just looks really bad, and he doesn't have the pre-setup with events that Shigaraki had. Crazy how, well, you're talking about Lolicon. Oh, you're talking about Duran Bolt's Snow Magic can even work on people way above like Branch. I mean, I would imagine it's something kind of like how if you don't notice it and you're not defending against it, he can just kind of sneak it on you. I mean, I guess if he's your boy, I guess you do your thing. I was arguing on Twitter for hours against Demora fans who think she's Galactic level. I mean, clearly she's not. Maybe she'll like. I think the best that you can really get is similar to Urza, where Urza isn't Dark Dragon Slayer Knight level, but she has, like, if she can charge up an attack and land it on somebody, that, you know, they can beat them at that level. Like, if she used her ultimate whatever attack, if it lands on a Galactica, she can win, but it's, like, only in the scenario where her ultimate attack is landed. Otherwise, like, in no other categories can she come close. That's the only thing I can see for her Homura right now, because the difference between Homura and Wise is she's obviously more of a direct fighter. I'm curious, what are things you actually did not like from Wraith Master? With Wraith Master, I felt like sometimes like the story was going too much in one direction, and it's one of the things I like about with what Mishima did with Fairy Tail is he left certain things kind of up in the air to if he wants to return, if he wants to expand, he can, but he doesn't have to if he doesn't want to. And that was one of the things he also brought up, like I said, with Wraith Master, at the very end, there was no way to continue the story if he wanted to. Because I like the idea of ways that if you wanted to, like, oh yeah, I have this idea of, you know, developing something beyond where it was before. You know, like imagine if he came back a couple of years later, some other conflict, and Haru had to go back and do something, and that's like maybe a movie or something. Or maybe like a shorter arc, but it's kind of like, you know, just kind of like going up into his adult area, kind of like his adult areas of life. Kind of like thinking of like Goku, you had like Kid Goku, and then you had that like early, like late teens to early 20s Goku, and then he's like just marrying Chi-Chi, just having Gohan, and then like just something like that for Haru, I think would have been really cool, but there wasn't anything set up for anything past the Mother Darkbrain being destroyed. So it couldn't have really progressed in a lot of ways further, whereas I think with what he did with Fairy Tail, and I would guess he's going to do similar things with Eden Zero, that he is going to leave parts of like, oh yeah, I could come back to this and do some extra story bit. Like maybe we'll get some of that with like the Heavenly Knights of the Dancing Chakra. Like maybe some of them will be left out. He'll decide to do a story arc. Bam, he's got a central like character to use, whether it be like a protagonist or an antagonist, or whatever he wants to do. But there's a lot he could just formulate around that I think would be better. And again, Rave Master is really cool, and I like obviously the idea of having an overall idea of what you're gonna do from the start with the story. But obviously, like as you're doing a story, there could be things that you change in your writing and stuff, and want to redo, or something that you want to continue onward. And it's just one of the things, if you're planning a long game, I think it's beneficial to leave some areas for like future work if you want to. Especially someone like Mishima, who just has so many ideas of like different like series and just seems to like land like a winner every time he's like put anything out, like any serialized work, that it just means that like he's leaving these things out to be forever profitable. It's like you think about Kishimoto, even though his newer series haven't done well, I mean, he's fine. He can live off of Naruto success forever. Like, that's forever. And then think about Boruto. Think about, like, how much he's just making additional off of that. Just from being part of his, what would it be? His creative IP or whatever. Gyara's Planetary, that's the only evidence so far you'll get in Star Level Galaxy. It's because of people like Faith that were thinking like, oh, because the picture was shown and describing what a natural one is, then it's the exact same level. But no, that's showing it from a star versus showing it from a human. Like a human's level of mass of a gamma ray burst is not the same level as a star level of mass doing a gamma ray burst. That doesn't make any sense to treat them like they're the exact same. You can treat the energy like what it is the exact same, but it's coming from two different like sizes and two different levels. So the energy outputs are going to be the same thing. It's like fire, like just regular fire. I'm talking about chemical fire. I think fire of a
of a house is not the same thing as a forest fire. It could be the same like type of fire, just regular wood burning fire, but the level of mass and area covered and how much longer it's going to burn would be a dramatically different energy output than what you get for a house fire. And that's what's going to happen with something like a gamma ray burst, something that's not nearly as big as a natural one, probably not nearly as long. I don't know how long they last naturally in the span of how long these explosions take place. I imagine just from their size, it's one of the things that it would probably look really short from a large scale if you just saw it from the whole mass. But I mean, think about how much distance that's actually covering. It probably takes a long time. I have no idea. I really like Nine Art hairstyle. I mean, the color setup with his armor I like, just because it's a weird color setup. But I mean, his hairstyle itself is not a good looking hairstyle. Boro's design, is that the guy that was like he had like 6 legs? He was like an octopus man. Can't they give Laxus his older Cuban to Joel? Make him Dragon Slayer? No. If it goes anywhere, I want Kieran to eat it. This gamma ray burst and destroy galaxy or stars, so I'm confused. Yeah, people are just running with the picture, not getting exactly what the description is supposed to be. Sad that Genos died without ever accomplishing anything. I mean, didn't he still save lives and do stuff? He just wasn't the big hero. Laxus beats Gildarts now. I don't think so. That's a different fight. I also think that Killer looked completely different with his first design compared to his Mark II or his human designs. Maybe it's like Mark I was from prototype. I mean, I imagine it's just like that's just kind of the first, like that's the skeleton. Like you're just kind of building what you want, and then you want to advance it from there. If there's gonna be Mark IIIs though, that's gonna be the big question I think of what exactly Mashiba wants to do with these guys going forward. Because I think didn't he say that like Ziggy stuff was gonna end in this arc or something, and then we were gonna like move past that. Sabo's just arguing power levels now. Code is basically building his own league of villains. He just needs to find those others. Who is he gonna find? Who is he going to find? It's not like Shiggy, where Shiggy just looks for talented young like villains. There aren't a bunch of like-minded individuals at that level of power in the Narutoverse just wandering around that are gonna take shit from like a 15-year-old. That's not going to happen. Let me spin the wheel real quick, and I'll get some more of his comments. Actually, hang on. I only got a couple more. Let me get up this. Nods can't meld the Zanpakuto. They're made of soul. They can be broken like normal swords. And that's not true. Hasn't Yamamoto melted Zanpakuto? They can be melted and destroyed. That's ridiculous to think otherwise. Well, Yami. Okay, they're talking about Yami. I don't know who's arguing with Yami now. Yami's black hole though is different, and isn't his called dark hole? Or is it black hole? Because his doesn't act like a normal one. It acts like it kind of like the magic, but only magic. It's not the same thing. Whereas singularity has the actual gravity pull to it. How much difficulty do you think Shiki would do against Draken Joe? I think he could maybe get like a high level of difficulty. I still would put my money on Draken Joe. Like Draken Joe, as far as I know, in his prime, I still would put over Shiki because he's just more experienced. He's way smarter, and with somebody like Shiki, with his like gravity manipulation and whatnot, still strong. But alchemy, like free ranged alchemy at that level, like is just scary. Like, at the level where he's just casually touching and altering whole areas, and it's not just like he's doing it at random. It's the mindset of, like, the character, too, when they get to it. When they're at a point where they're just being smart, and they're not just being like, oh, yeah, I'm going to only use it for, like, 1 or 2 attacks. You're just like, yeah, this floor is now hydrogen gas or whatever. And he can do stuff like affect ether and whatnot. It's just a better power. Like, Satan Gravity is going to be one of those things where it's going to become, like, it's going to power creep out of it. But, like, alchemy, direct alchemy is just so much better as, like, a base power. So unless Shiki gets to the point where he's just unfathomably stronger than Draken Joe, I'm not going to put my money against Draken Joe right now. Not in the idea of, like, Draken Joe, like, in his prime. Not, like, any problems. Finally, like, the final arc was rushed. Besides Megiddo, the Demon Souls, the Demon Gods were super lame. The only one that I thought was kind of lame was, Uta. I thought Asher was cool. I liked how he's just this big dark brain freaking bonanza man. Jericho I thought was cool. I liked her fight. And Megiddo I thought was really cool. The only one I thought was kind of lame was Uta, because like his fight was just felt really short. I like this with the whip, a weapon, not a sword. I hope she uses something kind of like, actually, what would be really cool for her? That it would have to match kind of like a nurse thing. Maybe like a scalpel. Does some like sick scalpel shit. And we're doing Toshiro fight. Let's see who Toshiro is gonna fight real quick. I wanna like make it better whenever we do the eventual one with like more people. Really? I thought Kaido, and I was like, that could be an interesting fight, but Gray, like legit, like Toshiro versus Gray, like Gray claps the shit out of him. Like Gray counters, he's got better ice feats, he's got more combat feats, he's got more wins against more diverse fighters. He's fought and beat multiple ice people, including somebody who can freeze power systems the same way that Toshiro can if he somehow gets to his adult form, which I don't think he will. That was actually kind of funny. Yeah, I don't think that Toshiro stands a chance. I don't think he stands a chance against Gray. Got to get Solo Fairy. So I don't think he could. Very hard. Zeref factually counters him. He factually counters Yuha-Bak and how Yuha-Bak works. Yuha-Bak cannot affect or counter anything that affects the past, which, you know, what Very Hard Zeref can do. Or just stops time and takes the abilities from him. Like, what's stopping him from doing that? Yuha-Bak has 0 feats against Time Stop. And that's why Time Stop is just such a nasty ability to have, because like only sometimes characters will have them, like full Time Stop and Versus, and it's even rare when characters will have resistances to Time Stop, just because Time Stop is just a bitch like that. Not current Genos, but I think Killer and a Hermit could defeat early Genos. Isn't early Genos like just like, doesn't he blow up mountains like from like the Go? I remember him blowing up like a massive part of a mountain at the very start of the series. So I don't know about that. They might get nuked. Imagine if Toon Magic was a thing in Black Clover. I would hate that. You just have some guy that looks like Pegasus. What's your opinion on Fate? I haven't really touched much of Fate. I tried it. I was not a big Fate guy. Julius versus Naruto. I think Julius could get pretty far. Once he gets to kind of like the big people in general. I mean, anybody like, not even like adult Naruto, but probably once Naruto gets like the nine-tailed cloak, I think he probably could clap Julius. Or at least just get to the point where like Julius is getting pressed by a lot of people at that point. Like, imagine Julius trying to fight 8 Gates Guy. Guy just goes and kicks him and makes his skull explode. Have you seen the fan manga about young Larcade and Zeref? No, I haven't. Do you think if Natsu... where was that? I think if Natsu uses more of ED powers to become more aggressive and brutal in fights. I mean, I think the part where he's slowly like losing his control on that is hopefully going to be explored more soon. And I thought that's what we were going to get when we got to the whole part with Celine and the PTSD. But maybe we'll get that in the future with Dogremag, and Dogremag will do some stuff to really make Natsu mad. Yeah, Yuha-Bak just take people's abilities from... No, he can only do that to the members of the Stern Ritter who have received part of his power, because of the way that he works. His ability is he takes a fraction of his soul and he puts it into somebody else's soul. They have now a letter etched into them. They've got a shrift, and that makes them stronger. But think of it kind of like he's doing like an investment. He's taking a piece of himself, putting it into one of these guys. It makes them stronger, and then over time, that fragment that he put in them, instead of it just being the fragment, is going to absorb everything from them, make himself stronger. And he's playing essentially power level investments, and he can only do that to people that he has shared his power with. He cannot do that freely, whereas Zeref can just touch him and take his powers. I think he can do to that. He'll legit went Ultra Instinct just to get humiliated 10-year-old. Zeref definitely didn't get humiliated. Zeref fought like the main character at the highest point of temperature he's ever gotten to. Code got in trouble for simping, and then got kicked twice by that Damon kid, and then had to run away. Like, The Boruto villains feel so weird because they feel like fan fiction characters that got like a good artist. All these things you said about Zeref he never used against Natsu. What, stopping time? He stopped time. We even saw him stop time with Natsu during Tartaros. He was going to undo time. He made the Neo Eclipse and was going to walk through it. The only reason he didn't is because he went back to fight Natsu, and that's it. We knew what he was doing. We knew what he accomplished, and the only thing left is he had to do was walk through the door, and the Neo Eclipse would have been activated. And it's an interesting thing that Zeref stopped caring about life. He didn't do as the typical villain thing of treating his minions and others necessarily cruel. He was chill. Zeref was a whole big bundle of stuff. It was once he got to that mindset of game pieces where he just kind of like got into this weird Zen or kill way of participating. Will painting magic and dream world magic exist in Black Clover? It's not far from Toon Magic. No, those are completely different from Toon Magic. This is not Toon World. Juno has bigger firepower but can't resist counter getting hacked. I mean, like, he can just punch them once and then they will explode. One thing I dislike about the Alvarez arc was war was not depicted as hell with a ton of deaths. Well, it wasn't supposed to be that way. It was like a game to Zeref. It wasn't supposed to be this brutal blood war. That's why it didn't have the same tone as Tartaros. It never had the same tone as Tartaros. It was a big encroaching battle of people that wanted to defeat them, take Mavis and then reset the world. But it was never about a bloodfest. It was about the timeline. It was about keeping time in the future. Whereas Tartaros, like people were on the chopping block from the go from Tartaros. Yuhabot can absorb anyone's power. That's not true. Here's two problems. He's able to absorb part of Mimihagi because Mimihagi is part of the Soul King. The Soul King is Yuhabok's father. That's why the reason he has the Almighty. The Almighty is one of the aspects of the Soul King's power. That's why he was able to absorb him. Ichigo is a Quincy. Ichigo's mom is Misaki Kurosaki, who is one of the last members of a pure-blooded Quincy clan. Ichigo has Quincy DNA in him. The reason that Misaki was not able to defeat Grand Fisher is because Yuhabok used the Ausschwallen, which absorbed all of her spiritual power and made it so she was pretty much just a person and then died in the process to Grand Fisher. Don't try and test me on my Bleach knowledge. I know some stuff about Bleach. Don't test me on this. I'm not nearly as versed with Bleach as I am with Fairy Tail, but I know Bleach. I know Bleach a good some. Who's worse, Code or Lucifaro? I think Lucifaro looks better than Code. Because Lucifaro was at 50%, and he was looking really good for a while and got to flex around a lot of people before he ended up losing. Code did not. Code has got none of these things. Code, as far as we know, got his full power and is still at number 3 to a kid who literally looks like a chode. It's not good. Part of me wishes Zeref wasn't too OP so he could have more fights. But he was too broken. I mean, that's part of the point, though. Zeref was just this... He was Dark Wizard Jesus. It had a lot to do with like how people perceived him and how a lot of people just viewed him in how he connected to magic and viewed like how he is and how exactly like his whole image and what they thought of him connected to magic, and that was like their way that they should be putting magic. And that's one of the reasons I think dark magic and black magic was like obviously coveted for a long time for like the people that worship Zeref, as they just assumed that was the way to go. Yobak also absorbed Ichigo's hollow powers. I mean, Ichigo got him back. And on top of that, he can only do that because Ichigo is a Quincy. Ichigo is part of the Quincy bloodline. That's why he was able to use Blood Vein and Blood Artery. Was there any foreshadowing for Ichigo being a Quincy? There's a little bit of foreshadowing when it comes to stuff with Yuhabak and the old man Zangetsu and stuff. I don't think there's a ton. I've looked into it. I haven't seen any like outright hard hammering things, but I think there's enough in there to at least kind of look at it and see some of what Kubo was doing. I don't really know anything about Fate, so it's hard to say. And just really quick, I'm gonna spin the wheel again in a second. But I gotta do my shill. If you haven't yet, I would appreciate it if you would like the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't, If you feel like joining the channel, we've only got the two tiers for members, only a $1 and $2, and that gives you stuff like priority comments, emotes, and badges in the streams. And on top of that, I mean, that's it for now. Game stuff eventually. I'm looking into maybe getting a capture card for my Switch, and I haven't really played much of the Pokemon Arceus, so I was thinking about doing that for a members thing, and having just like maybe some fun games and stuff that we could have on the side just for that, and keep that backlog for only members or something. And on top of that, if you feel like it, you feel like donating like $1, you can. It's purely optional. It's complete. It's all up to charity. If you feel like throwing anything, you don't have to throw anything. I'll still do stuff. I'll still spin this wheel free of charge. Hang on, let's see who it is. Hope somebody good. Oh, perfect. Ichiya. Okay, we need somebody with a nose. As long as they have a nose, he has a chance. The cute Avalon ship? I don't really know what that is. Alleviating the wish to see more Zeref, probably why Mishima has been given Ziggy a few fights. Well, Ziggy's not nearly at the spot where Zeref was in Verse, where Zeref was like literally a religious figure to people, and he just mastered all these powerful magics, and then pretty much just sat at the top, unintentional. Even when Draken got nerfed, he still never felt down bad like Lucifaro and Code. I mean, yeah, they just don't look good at all. Lucifaro has parts that look fine, but like Code just looks ass. Alright, I'm gonna spin the wheel again. We're gonna see who's fighting Ichiya. Do they have a nose? If they have a nose, there's a chance. Old tier. See, this is one that could have existed in canon. This could have been in canon. See, this old tier's not really gonna care and give Ichiya the time to set stuff up, so she's pretty much just gonna clap him right away. None of his like goofiness, I think, is gonna bother her too much. She's just gonna get annoyed. I was hoping Ichiya would get a fun one. Let me try one more. Do you think Natsu thinks Lucy is dead? It will affect him become no. It would have to be Ichiya again. Oh, no. Soifon. Okay, we'll have Soifon. I don't think... It would have to be something that he legitimately thinks it, not just, like, thinking about it. Rex says, acting like he's immune to magic, or are you surprised that Aaron's Universe 1 could move him at all? Well, no, because that affects the environment. That's not affecting him. That's affecting the environment. It's doing... You're essentially putting your magic into another thing to, like, affect something indirectly. It's not the same thing. It's kind of like how Damari can stop time... And it doesn't have anything to do with power level stuff. She's stopping time itself. So anybody just under the umbrella of like how time operates who aren't going to be outside of time, outside of the flow of time, are going to be frozen. Even people more powerful than her. So like if you alter the landscape, you're going to just move because the land is altered. It's not like she's throwing a portal at you and saying like you're going to move here. It's a completely different setup. Okay. Let's see who we get. I'm hoping for a good one. Law versus Soifon. The thing is, like Soifon's a smart fighter, like for the most part. At like moving in, like I feel like she's not gonna let Law's attacks hit her. So like stuff when he's generally just trying to cut her, I don't think that's really going to. It's not gonna be the same thing as like if Law was fighting, you know, somebody like Kenpachi. Kenpachi's not gonna care. He's gonna stand in the way of the slashes, and then it's can he split somebody that powerful? I don't think so. I don't think he'd be able to cut Kenpachi, but Kenpachi would stand there, where Soifon is not going to even try and attempt to let stuff hit her. She's going to dodge immediately. Who do you guys think is faster between Soifon and Law? I feel like Soifon's faster, but I can't think of any like speed feats for her that are like really that impressive. Law versus Minerva sounds interesting. She is not on the list, I don't think. I don't think I put her in here. I don't think I put her in this one. We don't got Minerva. Minerva, maybe she'll get a feat. I'll put her back in here. me see some more of the comments. Eden Zero, you like Eden Zero more than Fairy thought? Sam, you don't even seem to like when Eden Zero does stuff though, so I don't know if I believe you. One foreshadowing was then the glasses guy and Ichigo combined Ryatsu to form a buff arrow. I don't think that's foreshadowing. That was just them, like him combining Ichigo's level of Ryatsu with his bow to attack one of the Menos Grande that was coming in. I don't think that was foreshadowing at all. I got Lucky's faster than Soifon. Like, I want to believe Soifon is faster, but I can't think of any speed feat that's really that impressive over Law from her. Like, can you think of any? I can't think of really any. I can't really think of, like, what she can do, like, in terms of, like, raw combat speed. And, yeah, I don't think that she's going to have a way to get around him. I think that she's going to try. But Law has more to use. Like, she has Suzume Bachi's, 2-hit, and then she's got Jakuko Raikobin's. I mean, I don't even know if Law is going to have to worry too much, because I feel like he can just dodge that. I feel like he can just teleport himself out, and at that point, she's pretty much fucked. You think Law could move her with his room? Yeah, I do. I think he could do that. But the thing is, like, you don't want Soifon to be close to you. You don't want her to get that close. Because if she can get the 2-hit in, then he's going to die. But I think Law has generally more that he can kind of just move around. And he might just be able to cut off her hand and get Suzume Bachi completely just away from her. No, we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything just from throwing at me from the chat. We're doing only from the wheel. I'd probably give it to Law. I think Law can take her. And Law has more direct damage things to do than what she has. Because she just has, like, her, 2 abilities. He's got multiple, and he's got his own different hacks. And now he's got his, he's got the eternal damage with his awakening. I don't think he really needs that, though. I mean, one Gamma Knife is going to kill Soifon. I don't really see her getting back up from Gamma Knife. I will say it's Goku. The thing is, like, you put him against people that just don't have a lot of the feats. And one of the problems right now is, like, where Fairy Tail's at, a lot of the, like, right now, from the Selene feat, from Selene's human form feat, anybody who sits above human form Selene, equal or above, is at least large planetary. And the problem is that's, like, where they're capping out right now, where most of the verses that, most of the other, like, Shonen Battle series, once they're at, like, this level, this is, like, way behind them. So it's like everybody who's already got characters at this stage has people way higher than this. The other ones, for a lot of the other ongoing shonen, don't have stuff nearly as high up as that. So like Fairy Tail sits in a weird spot where a lot of their big people are either going to stomp or get stomped, depending on who you put them up against, with a lot of like relevant people, either from series that are ongoing or from other just like shonen power level series with like people up there in that like large planetary area. I mean, you can get mad about it, but it's just like the Selene feat is there, like, and then you have stuff like Natsu being able to keep standing from the same attack that took down human form Selene, and human form Selene's ability just flexing in her weaker state was able to affect 2 large planets. But you can get mad about it, but again, the feats are right there. Law's curtain that blocked a Thunder Bagua pretty clean. Yeah, I think Law's pretty much fine. On Twitter, for Guild Arts versus Shinsui, he said it depends on if Shinsui unleashes Bankai first. Do you think that he's fast enough to do so? It's not a speed thing. It's if he's gonna think about doing it, because he's been in fights where he could have easily won by doing that, like with his fight with Stark, but he didn't because it's not something he wants to activate just at from the go. It's a dangerous Bankai, so he doesn't just pop it out. With Diablo's hunting the Dragon Gods, how do you think that will happen when they hunt Ignia? If they went to hunt Ignia, I think it would go really bad for him. I think that he would either stomp a lot of them and let them just kind of leave and come back. Maybe that's already happened, but I don't think... Like, fighting Ignia is going to be a lot different than going and, like, trying to fight Mercephobia. Like, Ignia is just going to... Like, it's going to depend on his mood whether he kills him or not. So, let's see. Let's do another one. I'll just kind of, like, chat about it with you guys while I'm reading the chat. Another Toshiro. I don't want a Toshiro one. How am I keep getting Toshiro today? What we getting? Kira? Let's start a Bleach one. Obviously, Toshiro beats Kira. It's not really a question. Let's just do another one. It's just an inverse, like, very clear cut. We're getting Gray. Okay. Who's Gray going up against? We'll get Gray spin, and then we'll get to some of these. Big Mom? Okay, we'll talk about that. That's a funny one. There's no continental scoring feats. You're lying to yourself if you think that when we got to this brigand point, that's not the case. Like, once we got to this brigand point and we got to stuff like Ethereon being behind characters, that wasn't the case anymore. And again, like, what do you call Natsu still standing from Suzaku's attack? The one that drops a human form sleep, but Natsu's still up. Like, what do you call that? Like, it's ridiculous. Natsu's actually got massive feats up right now. Natsu's so fun getting around Law's room hacks. Yeah, I think, like, if he can teleport her, that's just going to be really bad for somebody who's, like, all about kind of just moving, getting those quick strikes instead of heavy damage or sustain. Oh, hang on. I got a super chat from Byron McClendon. Thank you very much. New Berserk chapters were fire. Thank you for the $4.99. I agree. The new Berserk chapters were super hype. Is it gonna come up? Oh, there we go.
Oh shit! You just busted a nut.
I gotta. Where's my donation box? I messed with my stuff, so I think it's not at the top. I'll fix it later. Thank you very much, though. I appreciate it. The new Berserk chapter was absolutely fire. I loved seeing just like the quick pace of seeing how pissed off he was getting and how angry that we were getting for Guts, and just I want so bad to see that sword cleave through Griffith eventually, and to have that little teaser makes it a lot hype, like super hype. Baragon versus Dogremag. We don't know anything about Dogremag yet, but it's like he shouldn't age, I would assume. So I don't really know if it's going to do anything, because we don't really know the age like gap of dragons at all. They just seem to keep going. Did that destroy Con? Are you talking about when Selene was casually messing with the moon and another planet? Like, what do you mean? That's around power levels, people over at this Carnal Ice Feet. Your thoughts? I mean, for one, it was completely a prep-based thing. And two, it's an environmental effect. It wasn't an offensive ability. Because it was like supposed to be her trump card, but it's like, what, it just made it cold? It's impressive. There's like a degree of like, you can still get around it. It wouldn't be continental just for making it snow. But if you still kind of wanted to look at it as like an energy thing, you can still probably get some good numbers. But hers was what? Didn't she have to absorb all of those ice knights or something to do that? That's something that took her like weeks. It's overblown massively. Then it's like, well, that's like, imagine if she could just do that regularly, her everyday amount. It's just like, no, she can't do that. It's not something she can do, and it's something that it's like a war zone effect. It's not the same as like a direct attacking effect. And that's her trump card. It's not like Invul just casually altered the biome, and that was just a AoE of his ability, whereas like his actual like offensive abilities, he still had more to use and still had stuff to do. Completely different thing. So, but Big Mom versus Gray. The thing is, like, Big Mom and like Gray hasn't gotten that crazy jump where like Natsu's at right now. But he does still have, like, direct ways, like, he's obviously got direct feats that would put him up to that same level. Because I would put Big Mom as that multi-continental area, and Gray is around the same thing. Gray should also be around multi-continental. He hasn't gotten any newer, like, feats to push him up to that higher grade. And we haven't gotten any new forms or anything that indicate, like, a higher level of, you know, of just that amp that his little devil slaying stuff sets up. But what Big Mom's general thing, she's got like the fire and the lightning. I mean, Gray can just can freeze those pretty fine, and I don't know what's stopping him from just freezing her homies and it coming down to like a physical battle. But I mean, he can just freeze her solid. Cena's messing with the moon, but can she? Oh, I'm not. You almost got me. You almost you were about a good half sentence away. Who would win in a chess match? Natsu or Luffy? I would actually give it to Natsu because Natsu's not as dumb as Luffy. Natsu is like, if we had the chart. Natsu's like the same like intelligence of somebody like Naruto, whereas Luffy's more of like Goku. There's just they're not smart guys, but there's a gap between
a character who's not smart and a character who's like dumb as dirt. Ken says he freezes her fat ass. I mean, yeah, pretty much. I don't really know what Big Mom could do because she has the physical, like she still can fight physically, but Gray actually has taken hits from physical powerhouses. Like he took hits from E&D just fine, and he doesn't have to be able to outpunch her. He can just freeze her, and freezing something is completely different than just punching it or trying to cut it or anything. Especially when you have ice colder than anything in One Piece. Aokiji's ice doesn't have nearly as crazy freezing feats as Gray does. Like Gray's freezing wind? It has to be like negative. I think it's like 310 degrees Fahrenheit or something crazy. Like freeze the tornadoes. You see Kurt Gray defeating Larcade? Oh, I can see it. I can see Gray doing it. Because he should be able to counter a lot of stuff. I think Gray was beating Big Mom. Because Big Mom, like, what does she do? She has, like, 2 basic elements. 2 things that Gray doesn't really have to worry about. And she's just physically strong. But Gray can just freeze her. There's nothing stopping Gray from just freezing her solid. If Ignia did kiss Lucy, it would contradict his not liking humans. He doesn't seem to hate humans. He just seems to not really care too much. Need Brigandine to be revealed to be continental so I can push the Brigand to more power level Jennifer fun. That's not going to happen. Not yet. I think once we get to like big stuff like that, I want to see it like... Because I want it to be more sparingly. I want there to be way less like big people, just because, like I said, I want the ships and the sci-fi weaponries to stay relevant, and that would obviously like keep the Eden Zero ship relevant if it's like if the whole Etherion is going to be whatever super weapon or maybe like a continual energy source or whatever it is. They keep like the ships valuable in the verse. So it's like, oh yeah, maybe this other ship has this one feature that's like super useful. It's the only ship that has it. Something that's like maybe like imagine like for healers, being able to make like instant cybernetic limbs or being able to like instantly recreate an organ or something is like beyond their capability. But like, what if there's one hospital ship they can do it, and it's like ran by the best healer, and it's because of the computing power of the ship, and like it was able to control these like healing nanites or whatever, so some science fiction thing that's able to heal pretty much better than anywhere else in the series and like anybody else, and you can maybe have something cool with that. Like it's stuff like that. I just want it to keep like its own vibe. I want it to keep its own like little bit of life that each ship has, and we haven't gotten as many ships as I would have liked to see in the series, but we have gotten some cool ones. I'm hoping maybe we'll see some more cool ships as the story's going, and maybe in the next coming arc. We don't know enough about the Edens 1 yet either. Maybe there'll be an Edens 2. Gray phrases those cheeks and clasps them. I don't think Gray wants that. Gray feet's nowhere near Laxus. Big. You don't need Natsu, Laxus, or Urza to be like the clap Big Mom. Big Mom is like Spriggan tier. Like, she's nothing too crazy. Yeah, she's just gonna she's gonna stand there and she's gonna be so easily like tripped and tricked by Gray. I think Mishima sometimes makes Natsu seem less intelligent. Well, Natsu's just not as educated, but I mean I don't think that he's a smart guy like at base. I think that he's just a guy who's like he's got like some street smarts, but he for the most part is not the smartest guy. He sometimes will be able to figure stuff out. He's not like totally stupid. Like he's not like Goku or Luffy, but again, I think someone like Naruto is a lot more sensible to say like where his intelligence is. I don't agree. I'm not a huge fan of One Piece's writing a lot of the time. You get your wish because the Eden Zero main canon might hurt Dead and Crow. I assume that's going to completely like rip them apart if they're going to jump on their biggest weapon. Can't Big Mom take Gray's soul away? That only works if they're afraid of him. Gray's not going to be afraid of Big Mom. I think any other new gen will get his power. Strong power wise as Fire Force. Maybe Endgame Mashal or something. Like get to something ridiculous. But Undead Unluck is about there already, so they're gonna not fully, but they're getting there. So anything about it, like how Wendy is around the same age as beginning Shippuden Sakura? It feels like a I mean, she's just short. Big Mom Spriggan tier, I think she's like Grimoire Heart. What? The Spriggan are stronger than Grimoire Heart and Tartarus. I don't really know what you mean there. There's no way Zerb is universal. He has no feats of support. I mean, most of these. I mean, that's not true. But I mean, like you wanna look at it. He did factually was going to undo entire timelines. Right? Has to be Fear Big Mom first. Yeah, it doesn't work if you're not afraid of her. Naruto's probably smarter than Natsu. I mean, it's debatable. I feel like some of the stuff that Naruto really showed his inintelligence with, like you would really have to actually have Natsu in this scenario. Like the. Think about the part where he was like in the ninja, like the whole trial for becoming a Chunin. I don't know why I just didn't say Chunin exams. But like when he was taking the test, I think Natsu could have gotten at least one thing written down. I don't think it would be fully blank. He would definitely have survived in the last question, but other than that, I don't think it would really. I don't think he would have done as bad. Let me give it another spin and see who's coming up next. Get somebody good. Oh, Baragon, no. Maki, so that's Fire Force. She's like the buff chick. Who would she even be able to beat here? Let's just give it a spin and we'll see. Okay, she's not beating Law. So let's just go past that one. There's no shot she's beating Law. Mimi. No, stay. Actually, Baragon's right there. All right, we did get Baragon. Who's fighting Baragon? I want somebody good. Give me like a cool character. No, Obi's gonna get his shit pushed by Baragon. Dang it. Okay, let's try again. These Fire Force characters. So let's keep putting these damn Fire Force characters. I keep getting Toshiro today. Why is this happening? What have I done to deserve this? What have I done to deserve all this damn Toshiro? There we go. Sho versus Toshiro? I got Sho clapping. I think Sho's just gonna behead him from the go. Just like from the start, doesn't have time through it. I was saying that Big Mom would have to be weaker than the Spriggan tier. I don't think so. I think, like, power-wise, the thing is, like, if you put her against the Spriggan, I mean, she can... Who can she even beat in the Spriggan? Because I was like thinking about it, it's like if you put her against Nineheart will just make literally Rocks, Whitebeard, and Roger. Bam, go attack her. Bam, he's fine. But and then it's like Agil just turns to sand or drains her body. She's a massive target, just pulls all the water out of her body. She's clumsy and dumb. Can she beat any of them in an actual fight? Because I feel like all of them are either going to like just overpower her or just hacks her into the ground. Because that's one of the big things about the Spriggan. It's not just the power level thing, is that they are broken. Like, and they only get more broken as they go up. I don't know if I agree. I consider, I mean, like a lot of shonen, and really a lot of shonen, you're getting about the same things. I mean, it's like their own stories and stuff. There's like deeper levels to things and like what things are representing and where they're kind of nudging with topics and ideas. But I don't think it's nearly the same as much as obviously when you get to something like Berserk, where Berserk does it like a lot heavier and a lot more. I'm not going to be one of those guys who does like, oh, you know, my shonen manga is the most philosophical read. I think it's people a little goofy. Nineheart's stories are weak as fuck, though. No, they weren't. They were still problems for a lot of big people. The only people that weren't really having issues with Historia were like the biggest people like Guild Arts. Toshiro, I'm not apologizing to Toshiro. Toshiro was ass. Jacob would blind himself whenever he sees Big Mom's boobs. I don't think he would. I think he would. She'd be too old. I think it would be like for him like dealing with an elderly old granny. This one just kind of looks like a fucking Mr. Potato Head nightmare. She's gross. You think someone will take Doberman Cart and make him second gen Earth Generation Dragon Slayer? I don't think so. Like imagine the weird plot twist. It's like Laxus comes into this arc with Lightning Dragon Slayer, but leaves with Earth Dragon Slayer. Just be like, what the fuck happened? That'd be so weird. I don't think that's gonna happen to anybody. I don't think anybody's just gonna eat him unless we get like who would eat him. Like, I don't think there's really a point, or there's going to be a point where anybody's going to eat him and gain their abilities. At least to my knowledge. Because I just don't know who would do it. Haku? He's going to get Earth Yarn or something? Make stuff come from the Earth? He's going to scary zombie plushies or something? So you need to forget that Urza had to call for help against Agil. Agil was just countering the shit out of her. Like, there's nothing she could really do about it. Yeah, I'm sure Magi's big brain. I'm sure, man. You do you. Ledman went from defeating all of Sabretooth to fighting on par with Rogue. They were weaker than the originals, but it's not like that they were weak. Like, and I've brought this up before. Characters who were weaker beforehand, like Zenkro or Easel, were more powerful, whereas characters that were stronger were weaker. And it seemed more of just Nineheart sets them at a specific level. We just don't have any, like, direct way to know what that level is. But we still saw stuff like the God Serena Historia was still able to push back a lot of the main cast members. He wasn't fighting them all out, but he was still able to still do stuff that could contend with them. I can't Big Mom use hockey touch Agil. The problem is when it comes to the hockey thing, is like she should still be able to hit him, but once he uses Sand World, he's over like a 10-mile array of sand. She would have to hit the exact spot where the grains of sand are where he is. Otherwise, he's just going to appear somewhere else inside the sandstorm. Like Sandworld's combination with like full sand intangibility, like it makes it so much better than just like a big AoE sandstorm. Because like the big AoE sandstorm is still good, but the fact that he can become intangible with the whole mass of the sandstorm is really good. It's that combo factor that makes it so much better of an ability than it is by itself. I like Kaido versus Serena. I mean, it's like what? I mean, God Serena doesn't really have any. I don't think God Serena can beat Kaido. He just doesn't really have anything to go against him. No real hacks. Like they should have similar stats, but Kaido is just more impressive. But it's like, does anybody think that Sho is not gonna just completely run over somebody like who did I get? Was it Toshiro, right? I got Toshiro again. I don't think that Toshiro is going to stand a chance. I think Sho's just going to cut his head off from the go. It would depend on where some of them are. I think somebody. Oh, Kaido's not dead. I said Roger. Was it Rox, Whitebeard? Who else did I say? Did I already say? Because I don't think I said Kaido. But I mean, even if they're somewhat weaker, so what? That's still three people. That's still three powerful people, all with their own things that they can bring to the table. It's not like, oh yeah, fighting three of them, even if they're a little bit weaker, it's gonna be easy. There's still three of them.
Oh shit!
Oh.
You just busted a nut.
Well, thank you again for the $4.99 super chat. Full power, 50% Lucifar versus all Black Clover without Asta. If we go by just how it was at the time, I don't think that anybody in Black Clover was going to be able to do anything. Just by the fact that he could null their magic. Only the arcane people or Saint Stage people were going to be able to do anything. There's only so many people like that in the verse. He doesn't get tired because of his level of mana amount. His physical strength, he can just clap through people and smash their spells with both physical strength and magic. I don't think they would have been able to do anything. I think they would have been done. Lots of start projection, transformation magic, doesn't he? Doesn't he what? He hasn't really learned thought projection. He didn't learn basic transformation magic, but it's like, oh, Roger. Yeah, I said Roger, Whitebeard, and Rox. Yeah. I know this. I know this is Urza's old friend from the Tower of Heaven. Are you talking about Simon? Whitebeard versus Yamamoto isn't close. It could be a death battle animation. Oh, I mean, yeah, the Yamamoto completely dominates and destroys him. Let me do another one. Okay, Zoro. Okay, here's one. If Sabo's still here, this is Sabo's guy. This is Sabo's dude. It's even green for Zoro. How appropriate. Who's Zoro fighting? Oh, Ogun. Doesn't he clap Ogun? I'm trying to remember Ogun's big feats at the end. I don't think he got anything that crazy, did he? Boba versus Ultir. I mean, Ultir should clap. Ultir is a way better fighter, and like just way more that she can really do with stuff like Ice Make and her Arc of Time. This black blonde dude with the card magic. What? The first person I immediately thought of was not the same one, but was it once again? Oh, are you talking about Show? That Show. That's why I got confused because every time I said Show, because I was thinking of the Show on the board, not the Fairy Tail Show. Natsu would be uncounterable if he learned water magic. He doesn't need water magic. Versus Crocodile. We're doing stuff from the wheel. I will take fan matches through membership or donation. Any member will get I'll just take anything a member puts. But otherwise through donation. Yeah, I have to hold it out. It's there's an embargo right now going on versus matches right now. This is an underground one. Tsukishima. Let's see. Tsukishima is going to be a weird one. Oh, he claps Luffy. Like he claps Luffy. The second he gets that cut on Luffy, Luffy's not going to want to kill him. And Luffy would be able to fight him, though. But I don't know how much, the fact that he can kind of just cheat, make himself stronger than Luffy, play with Luffy's emotions, and I think Luffy would be really susceptible to that, just because obviously how much Luffy values his crew. I think Tsukishima he's a counter to a lot of people like that. A lot of that kind of shonen main character, a lot of that shonen main character vibe. You know, you obviously care a lot about whoever's in your group. So someone like Tsukishima is just a danger to them in general. I don't know what Goku for. Where does Aragorn at the beginning of Serious Fairy Tales go? I think he's like City Block Love or something. He's pretty low. We should. I coughed. I was like chewing on a candy and I coughed. It doesn't really matter because Tsukishima can cheat. Tsukishima can do shit like just slash the ground, bam, traps or a bunch of shit is there that I decided I did hours before. They're just there now. Doesn't matter. And all he has to do is get one slice on Luffy, and that's it. And then he's like, I know it's like he has to get a hit, but I mean, if you can get a hit on Byakuya, and by setting up and being smart, I don't really see somebody like Luffy who's not nearly as intelligent as Byakuya is gonna be able just to get around that. I think he's gonna get him in the trick move, slash him, and then be done with him. I don't really agree. Still, Kata's dad. I don't think Luffy's character is that interesting to me. He just doesn't seem to really change. And I get that he's one of the ones that alters stuff around him as he goes. But I'm not a huge fan of it when it's like it just seems kind of stagnant. It doesn't seem to be moving anywhere. It's just my personal opinion. You're taking fights from the wheel, Zero versus Ultir. From this wheel. This is the one we're doing right now. I'll maybe say like later we'll vote for characters to put in, and a future one will have maybe more fan characters. This is just the one I had already up, and I wanted to test that a little bit, just kind of test the waters and see how things are doing. Ultir can make Zoro's swords disappear. Yeah, she just flash forward, they become dust. Luffy has this future sight, he'll see it coming. But he's not gonna be able to foresee if Tsukishima cuts the ground and just decides to alter the history of it. That's a completely different thing. Luffy can't see something that's going to alter something that he's seen before. And that's also something that I think would really screw Luffy over. Because he can see something in the future, but then all Tsukishima has to do is alter the environment, and that's going to alter the future. Because now the past is different. It's like Tsukishima's ability is just dangerous. Like it's a timeless hacks. It's just one of those ones that's just scary to have around. Things like Respira. Things like what's another really scary one in Bleach? Let me think of some Shrifts. Who's got a really X-Axis is another one because it just deletes the space. Like stuff like that is just too broken. It's just about like Luffy and Goku now. I'll do another one. I've been liking some of these. I want to do one where it's just like it's got like hundreds of names, and we're just kind of spinning through such a massive just slew of characters. Got Luffy. Okay, we got Luffy again. Who's Luffy fighting? Let's figure this out. Butcher. I know that's like he claps. That's a freaking Fire Force dude. I was hoping he'd land on like Suzaku or something. Suzaku hasn't gotten landed on one time. I want Suzaku and Kaido. No, go, no, stop. We're not doing the Butcher guy right now. Mainly because I don't remember him enough to think he's that interesting. I just remember he was just he was just one of those guys that like the crew fought a little bit. Joker. Oh, he's got that's the dude with the smoke cards. We're doing a heavy spin. Versus Kira. Can he beat Kira? Because like Wabisuke is just scary in general, just because that stacking effect. But it's like, can he do anything to get away from that, or is it just gonna be like a couple hits from Wabisuke and he's done? Putting JoJo characters near players because they're all hacks, no strength. Aren't some JoJo characters strong though? I don't know enough about JoJo. I only got through part 3. I used about Fire Force character. Oh no, that's that was Josuke's list. As he picked Fire Force characters. I just mixed them all up right now because I'm still trying to, I'm still testing stuff out, and I want to have more characters in there. I want to put way more characters in there. Suzaku or Urza make a good pair. That's not a good ship. That's not a good ship. I think I'd probably give my money to Kira. Kira from Death Note? No, Kira from Bleach. No, not Toshiro, please. I hate Toshiro. I'm annoyed that I'm even getting him right now in these damn spins. Andy? Oh, he can't kill Andy, though. Andy's just going to outlive him. But it's like Andy... I don't think Andy can damage Toshiro, but I think... but Toshiro can't kill Andy, so it's just like an ending battle. But I mean, I guess if you went by age, Toshiro eventually would age and die, whereas Andy will not. In terms of physical strength, Cars is the strongest in the verse. I feel like that's not true. Because Cars is what, like part 2 JoJo? Is this something that was this something that what's his name said about like the series? Is this like one of these canonically Word of God said things that you just have to accept, or is this like a data book? Because Cars, I don't remember anything crazy from Cars. Here, the Bong guy, he's he's a vice captain, but like Wabisuke is just a really dangerous Zanpakuto because it doubles the weight of anything it hits. Do I have any crossover ships? No, I don't have any crossover ships. Actually, I'll throw one in there. You have Acnologia and Kaguya, and Kaguya just sees this like Chad magic-eating dragon and just gets the business. But Acnologia doesn't have time for her, so he just kind of like tells her to go away. He's more dedicated to his job than some random space ninja. No, nobody needs that around. Yeah, once we get to, I want to get like way more characters. I want to have like 10 verses. Like I want at least like the next time I do this, I want to have at least 3 times as many characters as this. What I have right now, 32. I'm aiming for 100. We haven't even got to like some of the people like I want like Whitebeard and someone like who'd be really cool in here. Who's like another like big powerhouse? Is Dragon in here? Did he put Dragon in here? I don't think he did. Oh, he did. Dragon and Kaido would be sick. Wait, who did I just get? I didn't even see. I'll just reroll. Maki, we don't need this. No, hang on. Okay, one more redo. One more redo. I'm going with whoever it lands on. Come on, Suzaku. Yes. Yes. Okay, come on. Let's somebody cool. Let's somebody cool against Suzaku and see how that goes. I mean, this is already canon. We already have this. We already had it. Like, Suzaku's just gonna step past her. He doesn't have time for her. Well, Akinogi went Settle for Irene, so he went for Kaguya. I mean, Akinogi, though, he's racist against dragons. I don't know if he's gonna be fully racist against chakra aliens. Where did I scale the God Hand? The God Hand are weird, though, because they're not like power level based. They're like, they'll just have their kind of like weird general abilities, but none of the Berserk doesn't have like a power system kind of set up the same way. It's all more of like the just like characters usually have like a level of physical capabilities and then like a hacks or like magic ability. They don't have it like as a power system buff. None of them seem to really kind of upgrade the same way through magic that other verses do. Dragon from One Piece? No, Dragon from talking about Dragon from Fire Force. Like he's got his whole thing kind of set up with, you know, whatever his angry bad guy, big old fight with Arthur dude. Suzaku claps Urza easily. I mean, yeah, we already know he could, and he's done that. Pretty sure the MC is technically losing. No, it's a joint membership. Mishima's had as a joint main character status through most of Rave Master, pretty much all of Fairy Tail, and pretty much all of Eden Zero. Suzaku's definitely above Urza. I mean, yeah. He's a stronger swordsman. He's been in bigger battles. He's defeated higher level opponents. He's way more serious from the go. He's a completely different monster than anything that she's going to be able to really generally deal with. And we know that unlike Misaki, like he's going to just go for serious strikes like from the start. Tachi versus Kaido. I mean, he's going to get him as Tsukiyomi like immediately. Pretty sure Kaguya would just throw Akinogi to Poison Dimension. Just bust out. Kaido probably out-muscles Itachi. I mean, he's not going to be able to out-muscle Mind Games and just having his psyche ripped apart. Imagine Suzaku versus Zoro. Suzaku walks past Zoro with no problem. He literally doesn't even stop. You see, like, the little like thumb clicked his sword out of the scabbard for a second and then go right back in, and Zoro would just be on the ground. The problem is like Noelle has no way to hurt Juvia is the thing. Like there's just a weird fight, but Juvia has ways to kill Noelle. So, like she can literally just go inside her body and explode. Lexus claps Suzaku. I don't think so. I don't think Lexus is not gonna have the same fight against Suzaku. Suzaku's gonna take him way more seriously right from the start. I'm just a completely different vibe from him. Any suggestions? I'd like to see Irene and Lucy carrying Lexus on the list. They'll be there soon. I'll probably have it. I mean, you can maybe I'll have like a voting thing set up, and then like have like anybody who's a member can vote regardless of tier. You maybe just like put one character on there for every stream, and then we'll just throw them in, and just have one of these characters poised up. How is Juvia getting inside Noelle? She just has to get onto her little dress made of water. That's it. That's all she has to really do. I don't know if you know this, but you can get water inside a person's body pretty easily. You have to swap? No, she wouldn't. She could literally go through her pores. But yeah, it's a weird one because it's like I can see her winning, but it's like Noelle doesn't really have any way to hurt Juvia. She's going to be throwing water at somebody made of water, and she doesn't have any way to hurt somebody who's intangible. It'd just be a stalemate pretty much at that point. Oh, they're talking about Jalal and Gray's on this one. But yeah, I just wanted to do a short one today. Let me think about this. Tuesday we're gonna do obviously new chapter stream. I'm gonna try and aim for that one to be a little bit longer, and for maybe that one to be about 2 hours. And then I mean, we'll probably talk about the chapter, and we'll talk about Fortnites, and we'll talk about Eden Zero and stuff. And we're gonna have the Shonen Jump one on this Sunday. I'm trying to. I'll probably try and do a big wheels stream. Like we'll have, we'll go for a couple hours. I'm gonna try and have like 100+ characters, and I'll try and go for a bit of just like pretty much this bigger wheel. Maybe we can even like set up some edits of the best ones, and I'll put them on Twitter, and we'll see exactly how that'll go, and we'll just see what other people, if they have anything they want to kind of throw in. But yeah, maybe like drop some characters in the comments after the stream ends. Just drop some comments down of characters you want in there. I'll throw them in there. I'll make an extra list, and then anything additional, like I said, if you put them in any other videos, I guess maybe not any other videos. Just put them in here, and then maybe I'll like give like so many per person, and then 1 month till Black Clover's back. Big hype for that. And then anybody who's a member, I will give a couple extra throws in. Since it's it's cheap,